And that is that I got the B block today, and I'm really proud of that. And my brother's here in the audience, and you know, it just makes me feel good. And I thank the producers, which I don't know what to do. Welcome back to the Five. Is the website, not the leftist website, as my friend calls it, Politico, scheming with one of Herman Cain's rivals on his alleged misconduct story. I have my suspicions, I can tell you. The people over at Politico are simply refusing to answer the question. Now, one thing that did happen today is that one of the women who was, the two women who were supposedly involved in this story, has told the Washington Post that she would like to tell her story, but can't because of a confidentiality agreement. That's a new part of the story. Herman Cain has been going to place after place. How's he managed the press?
I don't think he's managed the press that well. He should have never sent his press secretary out on Geraldo. He shouldn't have raced out there with his media tour without having all the facts straight. The key to political PR and any PR in a crisis is to get all the facts out immediately. Don't leave anything left, or this will perpetuate a story that will come back and bite you. And that's what this has done over the last 48 hours. So he better be sure that all the facts are out.
Ms. Press Secretary, do you agree with that?
Yeah, well, the other thing is you would want to get it out on your own terms. And President Bush actually had talks and decision points in his book about how he did not disclose that he had been arrested for driving under the influence in Maine. And that came out 6 days before the election. And they estimate that 2 million evangelical voters stayed home that next Tuesday because they questioned his integrity and they wanted somebody different in the White House.
It's always amazing, isn't it, the way these stories seem to come out shortly before you get to an election. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that this was not leaked by the National Restaurant Association, whatever they call themselves, but it was given from them, somebody in there, to another campaign. I have my suspicions of who that campaign may be, and it may be someplace connected to Mexico. But leaving that aside, look, there's a big interest in a lot of people to be the alternative to
are you insinuating Perry, right?
Yes, I am.
Well, also Bachmann, too. I mean, let's call it what it is. I mean, who stands to benefit from a Cain failure? And it would be, in my opinion, Bachmann. She's the one who Iowa matters most to right now.
I don't think Bachmann can figure out how to leak it.
Oh, come on. Yeah. I don't mind that the media gets pitched stories, though, from other places or other sources. I mean, that's how it's always worked. I don't see the problem.
But Greg, let me ask you, the Politico, when asked the question specifically, did you get this from a campaign, dodge, duck around? So it's got to mean what? They got it from a campaign, right?
Well, when we first started the Five, Dana was sending those stories to the second floor about my past. Didn't work. Nice try, Green
I tried to sabotage you.
But here's the thing: is I think that Cain made a mistake in the sense that we're beginning to understand the ubiquitousness of sexual harassment claims and how, because they're happening so often and they're everywhere, and many of them are inherently meaningless. They're done to safeguard, future, reputation damaging things, and you might not be guilty. He could have explained that while saying, yeah, this happened, rather than,
Eric.
Very quick story. About 12 years ago, I was involved in a financial suit, not a harassment suit. Someone sued me for $400,000. It was completely frivolous. My lawyer said, let's fight this thing. I said, how much is it going to cost me? He said, probably $50,000 to fight it. So he went to the other guy. The other guy ended up settling for $12,000. Now,
that was real. You lived Occupy Wall Street.
I bought a Honda Prelude with it.
But here's the point. Not that what went on is real or not. Here's the point. I remember my exact conversations with the other guy, with my lawyer, when it happened, everything surrounding it. Herman Cain seemed to forget some of
the story. My question is, I've worked on these campaigns before and dealt with sex scandals myself. Why wouldn't you scoop, meaning get out before Politico and put everything out? Then they wouldn't even have run a story. You can do it on your own terms. But secondly, look, I think Politico has every right to protect their sources. But if they're the ones that dug it up, from a journalistic perspective, why wouldn't you come out and say, yeah, we got it. It was our exclusive. That's what's so fishy about it.
Well, remember when Michelle Bachmann, when the story came out that Michelle Bachmann suffers from migraines, and God forbid you don't want a woman who suffers from migraines in the Oval Office next to the, nuclear power button, or the nuclear weapon button.
Is that what it's really called?
No, I can't remember the name of it. I'm in a moment.
Well, let's go, because I got one thing to say before we get out of here, and we're being told to get out.
Okay, well, I was just saying that whether it was started by a rival campaign, it was certainly spread by a rival campaign that we all heard from.
I thought this, by the way, this is a very good conversation about this. I'm glad we got some people who understand the press side of this thing. And also, I think in the end, Herman Cain's mistakes here, it's classic textbook
He's not a politician.
Boy,
He's not. But I'll tell you, Greg, here's the thing. You don't contradict yourself in the same news cycle,
Right.
which is what he did about whether he'd seen this. And the other thing I would say is that if this was a 4-figure settlement, and this guy was the head of the 5-figure, and he was the head of
10 grand.
10 grand, right? If he was the head of this association, my guess is that it would be a lot bigger than that. And we know that a lot of human relations departments get these things, and people go in and cash in for $10,000.
Bob, more importantly, if you're Herman Cain's manager, the advisor, wouldn't you say, look, here's what you do. It's baseless. We settle because it's cheaper to settle than to go through a legal proceeding, and that's it.
If you've got a live body out there, I mean, that pejoratively, but if you have a woman step up there this week,
you better have a good story.
But that story is, I mean, from what I understand, the story is about an invitation to a hotel room that was then turned down, which, I mean, I often invite people to my hotel room, usually to get things down from the hutch that I can't reach. But, I mean, it's like if you have the power to say no. So, I don't know. The story might be very minor.
Well, yesterday, Bob was throwing candy corns down my dress.
You get me in trouble saying that. And by the way, they turned you down for a lot of other reasons besides getting something off the shelf. All right.